So welcome everybody. I believe we are now live. It always starts a couple of seconds before I'm ready. I follow the prompts and still there's always this little tiny lag in the beginning. Now I want to respect everybody's time and start promptly so that people aren't waiting for the action to happen. But I also want to give time for people to arrive and for me to be able to speak to you guys for a few minutes and let you know some things that are going on. If you have not been over to Quality Crafts, that is the Facebook group that is connected to my YouTube channel, and everyone is invited. So we are going to get started promptly at 2:05. I'm going to give everyone 5 minutes to arrive. Hi Jessica and Kelly and Kim. Thanks for coming. So I had a couple of comments that said that they would really appreciate if I started on time, so that's why I'm giving the 5-minute lead. I hope everyone's able to, well, I'm guessing now as the chat scans up, nobody can see what I've typed in there. So now I'm wondering if I have to repaste this in here. But I'm going to give everyone about 5 minutes to come in, and if you haven't been over to the Facebook group, like I said, it's Quality Crafts, and everyone's invited. Hey, Barb and Gemma and Stamp Girl and Deb. If you've been on my Quality Crafts site, but you've never been here, welcome. I'm glad you came, and you made time to come in and check out what this is all about. Basically, I pick 2 different topics for the week, because we do 2 live streams, one on one on Thursday evening. I'm missing a light in here. One on Thursday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and one on Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I always use YouTube or internet time. So if you're wondering how that goes, and check with your time zone. I'm just going to turn another light on. That's helpful. If you hear anything in the background, I have a little heater right to my right here going on because it just feels a little chill in here. It's been cloudy and rainy kind of weather for so long, like so many days. Hi, Satomi. Hello. I'm pulling up my socks. So today, last time I kind of felt like I was remiss in wearing my pajama bottoms. Today I have on my striped ones. So I hope you all have your jammies and your drink. I'm still drinking sugar-free Kool-Aid for those of you who are following my... I did give myself one cheat day this week. Not a cheat day, a cheat meal. So I had pizza and the dessert pizza. Hi, Ivy. And also I had 2 Diet Mountain Dews, but that was just for one meal and then back on the healthy eating plan. If any of you guys want to join me in doing that, that would be awesome. I saw somebody on Facebook post that they were starting some kind of a healthy thing, and I put my name down, but she has yet to add me, so I don't know if that's going to get off the ground or not. Boya Breen, I'm not sure. You know, your names are different from Facebook, so apologies if I don't know you, but welcome. Scrapping Pink Lady is here. Donna, Satomi. I'm just going to, from now, every once in a while, if I think of it, just repost my little ditty that I have, because as the chat keeps scrolling down, people are missing out on it. So we've got approximately 2 more minutes and then I am going to start. So if you're getting things ready for today to join me in what I'm doing, I'm using Brilliance inks today. Mine are nearly dry and I don't have re-inkers for these colors, but I may be getting them. However, if you don't have Brilliance, you can also use your finger and metallic acrylic paints or rub and buff. Yeah, for the stamping part. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. Hi Petra and Christy. And then we'll be using some cardstock. I'm using some darker colors today, so I'm using black for some of it, and then like a vanilla, kind of an off-white vanilla yellowish color. And then we'll be doing some stamping, and we'll be doing some hot glue gun use, which I don't use very much, so I'm hoping that this will maybe strike some creativeness in you guys so that you'll look in just outside the box and see what else you can do with glue, hot glue. Hi, welcome Tiana and Aunt Beck. Hello to everyone. Okay, we've got 1 minute left and then I'm going to get started. So I'm getting out my inks, my colored my colored cardstock that I want to use, and I'm going to plug in my glue gun. So plug in your glue gun if you're going to craft along. I'm going to do some stamping first, and that'll give my glue gun some time to heat up. I got a brand new glue gun, you guys. Look, I mean, I've had this one before, but I always left it on so long that this whole thing turned completely brown. And so this is brand new, so I'm going to really try my best not to leave it plugged in when I'm not using it. I'm terrible about that. So that is plugged in. Oh, Cindy. Hey, Cindy, I'm glad you told me. That's not Rod, it's Cindy. I'm going to turn off my little heater so you can hear me better, hopefully. Yay, Night Angel, you made it. Hi. Hello, everyone. Okay, 2:05, we're going to get started. I'm going to start out with 2 pieces of cardstock today. Oh, let me show you the card we're making. Did I not leave that out? Here, I thought I was so prepared, but every time there's something that I miss. I don't remember where I put it. How crazy is that? You know what? It's going to come to me, because as soon as I stop looking for something, it's going to pop out. There it is. I do have it nearby. So this is what everyone has seen as a preview, and we're going to recreate this card. Only the recreation of the card is going to be 2 of the tan panels and 1 of the black, I believe. Well, I guess we can do it either way. I've got some all ready to go. But as you can see, I've used several different colors in the background and then some rub and buff or some rub-ons on the top. And this squiggly part is the glue. If you hadn't already figured that out, I'm assuming you did. So I'll give you kind of a close-up of some of that texture that we're getting. To get the texture in the background, I'm using this stamp. And it is from the May May Made It Relic set. And at the moment, I believe this is sold out. So hang in there. I am hoping that she'll get more because this is a fantastic set. It's just, there's so many things you can do with this. I made another card using that set too, but we will move on with this. I'm using this one right here. I probably should have showed you that first. This one right here, it kind of looks like a paint splatter. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the black. Hey, Deanna. And Kathy. So let me bring you in just a tad. Like I said, I'm using a pigment ink of Brilliance. This is Galaxy Gold. If you don't have pigment ink or Brilliance ink that's like gold or silver, any kind of gold or silver ink would work. If you don't have that, try using some acrylic metallic. I gotta get my mouth together. It's like when I get on camera, my brain just does a total brain fart. If you don't have this and you still want to stamp, go to Michael's or Joann's and look in like Apple Barrel paints. It's an acrylic paint. All you have to do is look for the like gold and silver. Put a little bit on your craft mat so that it's smoothed out, and dip your stamp directly in that paint and use that to stamp with. It totally works just the same as this. It might have a little bit more spread out look to it, but you're going to get the same kind of look that you get with this. So I'm going to just go ahead and put this in random spots all over it, and we're going to do, let's see, 2 colors on this one, I believe, gold and silver. Yeah, I'm going to try to do a little bit of the green on here. I think it does show up kind of well. And I'm getting it over my craft mat, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to grab a piece of scratch paper. This one will work. I think I was using this before. So there we go, and then I'm going to use just a regular baby wipe to wipe off as much of that as I can get off, and I'm going to switch from the gold to the Platinum Planet, which is basically just a really fabulous silver. So if you don't have this, again, get some acrylic paints, put it out on your craft mat and dip your stamp into that. Just make sure it's not really super wet. You want a light coat on your stamp so that it doesn't smash out and then you lose all of the intricate design in your stamp. This one is almost dried out, and like I said in the beginning, I don't have refills for this one, so I'm just going with what I have, and it's good enough that it's going to do exactly what we need it to do for this technique. And then I'm going to switch to this Brilliance. This is called Pearlescent Jade. I don't have the refill for this, so you'll notice one side of my re-inker, or one side of my pad is darker because I'm using a re-inker called Gamma Green. This is a Brilliance ink, but I don't have the Gamma Green ink pad, so what I'm doing is I'm just putting some on the left side of my pad so that if I do get the re-inker for the regular color, I can use the other half, and I've not destroyed the entire pad, and then I'll be able to use that color again if I want. And I'm just going to use this. This is an old gift card, Visa gift card, and I scrape it along the top to help it spread out and to soak into the pad. You can do this with any kind of pads that you have. The Frugal Crafter has an amazing video on how to re-ink your own stamp pads with using, you can make your own colors. You can use it to try to recreate a color that you're missing by using, I think it's called gouache paints. And what else does she add to that? There's something else she adds to it. So if you want to go over to the Frugal Crafter and look that up, you can create your own inks and get pads like this that are empty. It's really cool. So this one's really juicy because I just added the ink. And I'm going to put this in all of the little holes that were left where there doesn't seem to be much. And you want some of the black to show through yet. So there's a couple of holes of black. You want some of that for this technique. So this one is super juicy. Do you see how it settled into the cracks? And all I'm doing is just taking a baby wipe and trying to push it and wipe it off the surface and try to get it out of those cracks. It works pretty well. I get most of it out. So that's it for the black one, the black piece of cardstock. By the way, if you're looking for size, how I created this card specifically that we're working on right now, I used a base. This is an A2 size card base, but it's a 1/4 of an inch smaller. Glycerin, thank you, Christy, to use the gouache paints with some glycerin, mix it together, and make your own colors and put it into your ink pads. So you just want to cut off 1/4 of an inch. This is actually 4 inches by 5 1/4. Instead of 4 1/2 by, instead of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, it's 4 by 5 1/4. So now we're going to switch over to this color, and this is also the same size. It's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then this one, we're going to put like some greens and browns. So I've got 2 inks here. This is what I used for this. I didn't use pearlescent ones for this one. I used chocolate and clover meadow. And these are close to my heart inks. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. Mine tends to, because of my table, not do the center of the stamp, so I just pick up the whole thing and stamp it into my hand. It doesn't really matter because this is a really organic kind of look. So if you don't get a perfect stamp, it's no big deal. But this is a good technique if you're stuck somewhere and you want to get a stamp out and play around. You can use your hands. Why not? We use our hands for everything else. That's cool. Wipe that one off, then I'm going to add some green. There was one other color that I used. I think I tried putting the gold on. But it doesn't matter. You guys use, you are the artist. You are in charge of all of your supplies. Use what you have. And if you don't have what I have, use whatever you have that's the closest thing. So I'm adding a little bit of green because I've got green on the other one. I'm not pushing down as hard because I want a little bit of a lighter of a look, so you can stamp off and then stamp on if you want to get like a second generation stamping so it's not as dark. And that looks pretty cool. I'm going to attempt to use this gold on here as well. Another thing you can do if you don't have a slightly different color, the gold ends up on here looking more like a tan color, I guess. So now I'm just filling it in holes, so I'm not so concerned with whether or not it's stamping the center, so I stopped using my hand. But the gold looks more like a tan. But another thing that you can do if you want a slightly different color on a cardstock is if you've got Versamark, which I didn't tell you guys to bring today. If you've got a Versamark stamp pad, not VersaFine, but Versamark, the one that's clear ink. If you stamp, I flip this over, if you stamp a clear ink onto a color, it's going to make that color look one shade darker. So I could have got that same exact look by just using clear ink and letting it dry versus the gold on this side. Do you see the difference? It looks very much the same. So if you're looking for a two-tone effect, Versamark is your friend, and that's a really cool tip. So now that we have all of these, or not all of these, but both of these completely covered the way we like the way they look, in your style and your color and whatever color of paper that you chose to use, because they obviously don't have to be black and tan. I'm going to cut these into strips. I try to stay away from math that's complicated. So what I did was I just cut my strips at 1 1/4 inch wide. And I'm just going to double check that to make sure that I'm not telling you wrong. So I've got 3 strips on this card, right? Yep. 1 1/4 inch. So what's going to happen when we cut these at 1 1/4 inch is we're going to have just a little bit left over on the end. So I'm going to put these both in here together. I'm going to line it up to 1 1/4 inch. And I'm going to do that 3 times. And then you'll see we have a little bit at the end. But this just makes it so much easier. That all of our strips are the same size and we didn't have to think really hard or do math or pull out a calculator. And we're not really wasting much. 1 1/4. So here's our waist, is just this little tiny piece at the end. And you can save this to put inside your card because that would be a really nice touch. So I'm going to do that this time. I'm going to save that. I should probably bring you guys out. And I got cotton mouth already today and I've hardly done any talking. Hi Cecilia, welcome. Cheers guys. Aunt Beck says, save those little strips and do a strip card. You totally could. So now I've got all of these strips. So I could choose to do another dark card. You can do it any way you want. Now I've got 2 darks and a light. You could do 2 lights and a dark, or you could do all dark. Let's say I wanted all 3 dark, or maybe I wanted a card where they were all light. You can put these any way you want. I'm going to pull out the ones that I made the other day. I am just dropping things left and right. You could distress the edges and make the edges look fuzzy. I think that would be really cool. I'm going to do that today. And let's see. Let's do, since I have extras of these, let's do 2 lights and a dark, just to be the opposite of what I created the other day. And now what you want to put these on is a regular A2 size card. So that's going to be half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, cut right down the middle at 4 1/4. And I'm going to use the same color I used before. It's just a chocolate brown. This one that I did previously is not on a card. It's just a card front. So this has to be added to a card. And I would suggest that you do it that way if your cardstock is really flimsy, because then you can build up your card. Kathy Godwin, to answer your question, Kathy Donahue is not here today. She's not feeling well. I don't know if she'll come in and view or watch, but she told me that she's really not up to being here today. So thank you for mentioning that. And if you could keep her in your prayers and thoughts, that would be appreciated too, because she's really not feeling too good. I don't know what else to say about that. I really hope that she finds some kind of ending to this pain that she's in. So like I was saying, if you've got really flimsy cardstock like I do, this is really flimsy, by putting all of your strips on an extra sheet and then putting it on top of your card, because you won't be able to tell because it's the same color, it'll bulk up your cardstock and make your card a lot more sturdy. So that's completely up to you, but that's another idea, another tip that you can use when you're creating. Layers make things bulk up, so if you've got, you know, inexpensive cardstock that's flimsy, that's a really good way to go. Today for you guys, I'm just going to go straight onto my cardstock just so that we can keep this flowing. And I don't measure. All I do is lay my pieces down, check out about where I want that space to be in between them, and then I just pick up one at a time and I try to recreate that spacing as I put the tape on the back. So this is totally up to you. If you feel like you have to measure, you go ahead and measure. I don't. I just eyeball it. If you keep in mind that you want, like, you know, so much on the edge, then you're going to want to put the other piece so there's so much on that edge to match, and then just try to put the other one right down the middle. And then the fun part, we get to play with the hot glue. Now, if you're younger and you're watching, make sure you have somebody obviously helping you with the hot glue, because this could potentially burn you. But if you're very careful, it should be a totally easy technique that anyone can do without being hurt. And I'm using this, I'm just recycling this gift card. So let me bring you guys in, because this is the fun part. Yeah, the ATG gun is not really heavy. It's actually quite a decent weight, and it's an easy way to put tape on your projects. And it's comfortable in the hand, so it's actually a nice tool for people who have a hard time with snails, or you don't have a lot of strength, or maybe you have arthritis. So just all you do is just push this little button, put it down, roll it, and let go of the button when you want to lift up. It's so slick. Give it a chance if you haven't tried it. So now we're going to add the glue, and to get those little wavy lines, I kind of move the glue around, and then to get that split look, like this one, you just dig your card corner into it and drag it through the glue. So I'm going to show you that now. So any of you who have been watching TV or doing something else up until this point, oh, my camera's going wiggy, you'll want to watch here. This is the part to watch. So you've got a few seconds after you do this. And then when I get to the bottom, I just push and pull. I push it right into the paper and pull it so it ends. And then I stick my card in there and I just move it around however I want it to look. And then at the end, I push down on the paper and pull so that it smashes into the paper. Let's see if I can show you that. It just smashes into the paper and makes a flat ending right there so that you don't get a lot of stringy stuff. You still get a little bit, but it's not bad. So that's going to be a little hard to see, although with the glossy, you can kind of see where that little snake trail went. Super cool, right? So every time you do this, it turns out completely different. You can do it in a straight line and make all kinds of wiggly, kind of funky little patterns. It doesn't matter how you do it. I'm going to try to just do mine a little differently than I did last time. And push and pull. Smash it into the paper and pull so that that string comes off right away and you can just remove it. Anytime I lift it up, I smash it into the paper and lift it up. So I've got one little string where I lift it up there, and you can pull that off. You don't even have to smash your card into it at all if you just want a regular smooth look. And this adds hardly any weight to your card too if you're worried about mailing it. It's relatively, I just stuck my fingers right in it. It's a lot cool now, so it's not really that big of a deal. But it's relatively light and it's relatively thin. So don't do what I did. It'll be fine though. It'll give it a little bit of a texture when I put the stuff on the top, which is what we're going to do next. You can just let it fall where it may. It's not real thick. So, you know, shipping or sending this is not going to be a problem. And I'll leave this one on the end just for comparison. I won't dig the card into this one at all. So smash it into the paper and pull it up. And that way you get a thin little thing that you can pull right off. So this last one is just going to be a wiggly little glue mark. And I'm not going to smash that with the card at all. So you have a little bit of a comparison to see when we put the stuff on it. So we have to let this sit and dry. That last one's going to need a minute. These two are pretty much dry. So what I'm going to do now, just letting you know, so that I don't forget, I'm going to unplug my glue gun. If we decide to do more, I'll just replug it back in and then give it a few minutes to heat up. While we're waiting for that one to dry, I just want to find out, have any of you guys tried these Nuvo drops? I was so interested in how these worked. I really thought I had purchased white. Accidentally, I purchased the name of it. I just love that there's a big gem on the top too. These little bottles are so cool. What is the name of this one? There it is. It's called White Blizzard. I should have known that White Blizzard wasn't white. It's more of like a Stickles look. And then I got the gold and the silver as well. Now we're not using these on the project today, but it would look really cool if you used the gold, like a gold stickle on the background, or added it. So maybe we will. Maybe we'll go over the top of it with a little bit of that gold and see how it looks. I really enjoyed playing around with these. I've done a little bit of, well, as you know, I'm always all over the place. So you don't just get one technique or tutorial. There's always like a bunch of stuff that's going on. So I really, really hope that you don't mind that I'm a little bit all over the place. And I got glue in my hair. This is one. Oh, I lost one of my little pieces. So I'm looking for a white piece of paper so you can actually see these. Oops. These are the gold, these are the silver, and these are the White Blizzard. They're a little bit hard to see. There we go. I think that the gold looks more like amber. I'm not real impressed with the gold at all. I do like the silver. That's kind of cool. And you can't really see the crystal one on the end, but if you put it on a really light color, that one turns out really cool too. I don't have a Misty, but I have one similar to it. This is the tool that I have. It's the Stampaholic. Same exact thing, except for the Misty has a pink runner. Gosh, you can't really see that whole thing. The Misty has a pink runner around instead. Oh, so there's that one that fell. So you can see that little drop. I don't know. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to use rub-ons. If you looked at any of my reminder posters for today's event, I mentioned metallic rub-ons. That's what these are. They come in 4 different palettes. They're relatively inexpensive as far as supplies go, I think. Look them up on Amazon. That's where I purchased mine. They're literally called metallic rub-ons. Says virtually acid-free for those who are worried about that kind of thing. And this one has walnut, sky blue, rosewood, silver blue, iris, cameo pink, and golden white. But they all have different colors in them, as you can kind of see. That they're really awesome. Now, if you don't have these, another thing that you can use, like stamping in the beginning, you can use metallic acrylic paints. Go look for the apple barrel kind or the cheaper kind that's in Michael's and Joann's. It's like less than $1 a bottle, and it will last you for years because you only need a little bit. Dip your finger in the metallic acrylic paint and do the same exact thing. Another thing you can use is Rub and Buff, and I'm just going to take a brief intermission here and grab that quick because I wasn't sure if I was going to mention it or not. It's kind of like a shoe polish. I only have one color of the Rub and Buff. It's a metallic wax. This would work just as well. Okay. My opinion is if you're going to use Rub and Buff, I keep a wet wipe nearby, and it says that you should clean it with mineral spirits, but maybe you want to use a glove if you're using this. I don't know. I just really like these rub-ons better than I do this. This has a smell to it too, I think. Yeah, it's pretty strong. But it will work. And I know a lot of crafters, that used to be really big. So if you have that laying around, that works too. This is where we're going to add the color. So I'm going to pull my card back over. The dark one I did in gold. Now there are several different looking gold kind of colors, but I'm going to use this one that seems to me to be the most shiny. And you just stick your finger in it, get a little bit on your finger there, and you just run it over the top very gently. Don't push, because you just want to hit the highlights of that glue. You don't want to push it into all the cracks and crevices. And look at the difference, how pretty that is, that gold on there. Who knew you could make glue, hot glue, look so elegant? I love the look of that. I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to do these last two, but I'm going to take a brief intermission here. And I would like for you guys to talk amongst yourselves and decide with the last half an hour that we have today, would you like me to create another one of these kind of cards? Or would you like me to move on and move into showing you another technique with the glue using a background, creating kind of like a watery background with it? So I'll be right back, and you guys let me know in the comments. And if somebody could just let me know if I missed some of the comments, what the majority rules, okay? So I hope that you guys are following along. This intermission will give you a chance to catch up too if you're following along with me. I'll be right back. All right, so moving on to the new one. Let's see. Let's add a silver to one of these before we go. So in case somebody wanted to see the full finished one, I used a little bit of silver. And I rubbed that on. And then I went over the top of it with a little bit of green as well. So you can do whatever you think would look the coolest. I really liked the silver on that one. And I want to show you the difference between the one where I dragged it through and this one. So let's try just a green on that one. And you can add more just by, putting it right on the top and make it as dark as you like. I really like the smashed look much, much better than the regular look, but that's completely up to you, the artist. So let's set these aside and move on. We're going to do now a technique using the same hot glue, only this time we're going to use a little bit of inks. I think I told a few people to bring some blues, some inks that are blue, and I've got a cardstock base here. Let's move that out of the way. That's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, a regular A2 size. And I'm going to create kind of a sky effect, and then we're going to do a water effect on the bottom. So I took a piece of paper and I just ripped it. And that's what I'm going to use for my inking. I'm going to just grab a light blue. This happens to be tumbled glass. Doesn't matter what kind of glue that you use. I'm going to grab the tool that I'm more comfortable with, this one. And a little piece of felt. Those of you who follow me know that I use the felt and the Ranger Ink Essential, the Tim Holtz little tool, to do all of my inking. So I'm just going to follow along the edge of that. See how, oh gosh, it's hard to see. See how it gives you that little line? That is really light. And then I'm going to move it around. Because by doing that, it's going to give you a little bit of a blue, where like it looks like clouds, but then a little bit of white as a contrast to make it look more like a cloudy space. And you can add whatever colors you want to the sky. It really doesn't matter. I just chose blue. I mean, you can do a sunset. I want this one on the bottom to be a little bit more obvious because my water is going to be down here. So that's my sky. That's a fun technique. And then for the bottom, I'm going to use a little bit darker of one. I'm going to use Salty Ocean. It's a little bit darker of a blue. I just want to put down, I don't know how to explain it, like just a base of color. Because we're going to put the hot glue over the top of this. And I like the almost like gritty, sandy look you get from that. And just put it on. All I'm doing is just putting on the way my mind's eye sees how I want it to look. So it's up to you. There's no right or wrong. It's you, the artist, that decides when you've had enough. So I'm going to use the exact same technique, but we're going to make this into water instead. So the darker you go, the more you're going to see it through the hot glue, is what I'm saying. I got to plug my hot glue back in. So if you want your waves or your water to be really, really dark, then make this super dark. If you want it to not be dark, like if you're going to go over the top of it with, I'm going to just adjust this. Do you guys want to see the stand that this comes on? So there's a plug that goes right in the bottom of the gun, and that sits right here. And then this metal piece goes in that little holder, and it stands on your table. And as you can see, there's nothing on here because I've never had it drip, but if it drips, it would go in this tray. This is a really inexpensive one that you can get at Hobby Lobby for like $6 or $7. And it's got a relatively small tip on it too. I totally love this. I highly recommend this gun. It's my favorite. It's my second one because, like I said, I ruined the first one. That was completely my fault. But if you're going to put on, let's say you want the under part of your ocean to look more like brown, you could use one of the rub-ons that look more of a bluish tint. Like, I think this one and this one have a bluish gray tint to them. You could put those over the top. I'm going to try on mine to make this a dark blue, and then I'm going to put the waves, and I'm going to use this whitish one. What's this called? White Sparkle, it's called. To add, you know, like when the waves roll and you get that white on the top? That's kind of what I'm going for. So I'm teaching and learning at the same time. I've not done this one yet, but it's been in my brain for quite some time, and I wanted to try it. So why not try it out with you? And I'm thinking I want this just a little bit darker because I really want this to stick out. So I'm just going to darken the top. And we'll see if that makes any difference. I touch to find out if it's hot. I touch right here, and I can feel that it's warming up. Never ever touch the metal piece. And my glue guns, my glue sticks, I keep in a little dollar store container. It's exactly perfect. And I got this at that funky dollar store. If I've mentioned to you before that, I used to get my foam tape from a dollar store up in where my sister lives. And we can no longer get it. They don't carry it anymore. But that's where I got those. Like they always have funky deals, but when you see them, you have to grab them because they're not there long. Now I'm going to grab my glue. I should probably test and see if it's coming out okay. It's coming out slow. I'm going to make waves with this, and then I'm going to stick my card in it and drag it to make the divided look. Just like this kind of a look. So we get some bumpy waves, but some dipped down and some higher level waves too. So I did as kind of a straight line. Now I'm going to make my waves up and down with my card. You could leave that on just to have shiny waves if that's what you were going for. But I want a few more. I need another glue stick already. Yes, the white cap of the waves. Thank you, guys. And I'm going to do it again and make another row underneath it. This time I didn't go in a straight line. I went up and down already to see if that would make a difference. So now I've got double, and I'm going to do it one more time. I could have put like a little bit of sand here. That would have looked really cool, but I didn't think of that till just now. So let's just try to like fill the bottom like with the rest of the glue. And we'll finish it off. Sometimes my techniques just seem to flow and go really quickly, and I end up with extra time at the end, and other times we have techniques where I could just go on that same technique for hours. You just never know. It changes. That looks really cool. You could even use smaller and different tools to do this with. You don't have to use a credit card. Or you could cut that credit card up into teeny tiny strips and make it even more precise. But that's completely up to you. You guys are having a conversation about Vaseline, but I'm not sure where that fits in. I'm sorry I missed the beginning of it. Alrighty, so I'm just kind of yakking because I want to give that just a few seconds to dry. I don't want to stick my finger back in it like I did before. And I'll move a few things out of the way. And before we go, I'm going to finish up, if we've got time, making that into a card, because I do still want to add the gold Nouveau drops and see how that turns out, because that, I just, in my mind, it's going to be so cool. So a good way to do that is to touch the back of the paper first. If you don't feel like it's very warm, then you can touch the front. It's already dried. So let's do the white cap thing and see what we get. Now I'm thinking with the first row, I'm just going to do straight on with the white and see what happens. It's almost like the silver, but it's very, very inconspicuous. I like it. And then the other ones, I'm going to try to add a little bit of dark underneath and then add the white on top. But can you see it's not very noticeable, but it's just enough to bring out those waves. I really like the look of that. Now let's try something slightly different. Let's try one of these bluer looking gray tones. This one, what's this one called? This one's actually called Sky Blue. Who knew? I'm going to go over the second row. Try to bring in just a tad. So to me it looks more like a dirty gray than a sky blue. But it would probably look much different on a very dark background, like a black. I think I like the white better. What do you guys think? Beck says, I wonder if you took your heat gun and made the glue bubble some, would it make it look frosty? I don't know. I've never done that before. You can add your heat to the glue and make it bubble up. I know that sounds kind of scary to me. If you do that, though, Beck, I would love to see yours. I'm going to switch over, and instead of using the white, I'm going to go back in with the silver and see what that looks. Oh, now you can totally tell the difference between the silver and the blue. How cool is that? Look at the difference. So the top was the, what do they call it? White sparkle. The middle was sky blue, and the bottom is silver. That is a really cool look. Really, really pretty. Oh my gosh, that would make a really cool card. I'm going to have to finish that one off. Probably not going to be able to finish off in this stream since we've only got 10 minutes left. But let's flip-flop back to the other one so I can finish off a card for you guys today. We will use the guinea pig one. Not this one that I created originally for the stream, but this one that we finished during. And I'm going to fold my card first. This is a regular A2 size card base, so it was half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I'm going to unplug my glue gun, so I do not forget, because I will. I'll leave it on. I'll leave it plugged in till like tomorrow morning, and then be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. And now it's just having one little tiny drip. Do you see that? One little teeny tiny drip. Oh darn it! I have a problem with my eyes. There we go. One little drip. Anyway, I love that glue gun. It's amazing. Like I said before, when we put, if you put this on just a regular base, not the whole card, you can put it on the top and make it a lot sturdier. I forgot that I had mentioned that, and I put it on a card essentially. So let's check out the Nouveau drops and how that looks. Like the gold looks very amber to me, but I wonder if I add this gold, the gold Nouveau, into this part right here, if that would look really cool. That's what I'm going to try to do. Add a little bit in and just kind of rub it around with the tip of the tip of the bottle. I got glue gun on the brain. To add a little glimmer, do you see that? And I'm really spreading it out because those dots that I made, that is really looking cool. The dots that I made, in case you guys came in and didn't see those, they look like this. The gold ones look really amber. So I don't want that yellowish look so much as I want it to bring out the gold hues. And so it's really looking shiny. I really like the look of that. The first card, the only difference is that it's got two black ones instead of two tan ones. But wouldn't it be fun to see if you guys bring this technique over to Quality Crafts? This is the challenge for the week. So bring all of your ideas over there and show us what you come up with, because there's a bazillion. I'm sorry, I thought I was in frame. There's a bazillion ideas you could do with this, and it's going to come out different for every one of you, because we all have different mind's eyes in our artist brain. That's hard to see, but in real life, it looks stunning. That's really cool. I'm going to put a little bit of the white one or the clear one inside the gray. So I'm just following the clear path. I'm not going on top of the gray, just to give it a little bit of shimmer. That's neat too. So on the inside of the card then, I'm going to use a piece of that same like vanilla looking cardstock. And I'm going to cut it a little bit smaller. It's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. I've got green coming off of my fingers. Good thing there's 2 sides to every sheet. We're going to finish off the inside of this card. And then remember the 2 strips that we had? Those are going to go in here too. I'm going to use my little glue bottle that I have and back you out just a tad. I'm just going to run a line of glue down the middle. And then I'll cut the edges off where they hang off, because there won't be enough really to save anything after this point. We've really used everything we could out of these little strips. And I'm just being careful because of the Nouveaus that I just put on the outside. It's still a little bit wet. I must have wiped that green from the green that I put on the outside of this one. I must have bumped it with my fingers. And then we've got an outside and we've got the inside. And if you don't like writing on this color, you can always add another little box of pure white cardstock if you like, but I think that finishes it off nicely. I'm going to leave it just like that. So we've got this one that we did. We have the one that I prepped in the beginning, which is almost the same except for we transversed the tan and the gold, or the tan and the black. And then we experimented a little bit and did the waves. I think the waves will look really cool with glitter on them too. But I like glitter. Some people don't. So you as the artist will take all these techniques that you've learned today and create something that makes you happy. That's the point of it, right? That you experiment with the stuff that you have and that you do things that bring you joy. And that's different for everyone, and that's okay. Just going to put the cap back on there. And we used rub-ons today. So if that might have been something new to somebody. And then we used Brilliance ink pads. And as a way to get around, if you don't have Brilliance ink pads for stamping, go ahead and go to your big box store that sells crafts and look for their off-brand of acrylic paints that are metallic. And just put a little bit on your craft mat and dip your stamp into that, and you can do metallic stamping with that. And you have to wait just a little bit longer for it to dry. But if you don't use a very thick amount of it, it won't take long at all. And you can get all the same look, like especially the look behind these. That silver and that gold. You can get that same look with acrylic paints. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this today. If you have not already checked out Quality Crafts, which is the group that's connected to this YouTube channel, You're all invited to come. International as well. We have challenges that run. This is the challenge for this week. It runs from Sunday to Sunday. And I always do a video on Sunday promoting and showing you the technique, the tutorial, so that you can use your supplies and join in on that challenge. And then we always have swaps going on, and Kathy Denny runs that. She's not here today. There's some questions going on too. We'd love to have you. So internationally round. Over at Quality Crafts, that is a drama-free, commitment-free group. There is no participation police. We don't watch to see whether or not you've participated each quarter. We're not going to kick you out for not doing that. Do what your heart leads you to do. If you want to sit back and be inspired, then come for that. If you want to join in and get your hands dirty and join in the conversations and post a lot of stuff, we also really welcome that. And we have people from all over the world in that group, and it's really, really fun. So I hope that you'll take some time to check it out. And let us know who you are and that you found us through this YouTube channel, because that way we can get you added quicker, because we try not to add people that are going to either bring drama or bring spam or any kind of scamming into the group, so that it's comfortable for everyone to be there. It's G-rated. The entire family is welcome, kids as well. I hope that you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this this time. I like doing these tutorials and these live streams so that you guys get a chance to do that and stuff. I will be selling some things. I'm not big into selling, but there are a couple of products that I really love that I want to bring to you guys. One of them, one of them is the little glue bottle that somebody just asked me about. This teeny tiny tipped glue bottle. This will be one of them. This is a staple for me. I use this all the time. And what I put inside of it is, I just lost my cap. It went to flying. Whoops. Anyways, I put Aleene's tacky glue. This unscrews and you can put the glue head right in there and squeeze it in. And then I add about 10 to 20 drops of water and I shake it up and it comes through that little tiny tip really, really easily. And then it comes with this really fun stopper, but I also have stainless steel pins that you can use, so that it's just like the other one that I had, where you can put the pin right in the top and the pin will keep it from getting clogged in that tube. So every one of the bottles will come with a pin, but you can always just use this little fun rubber stopper. The other one is my rolls of foam tape, which I've got buried, that look like this. Because foam tape, I've heard, is kind of hard to find, so I found a bulk buy that I can sell these relatively cheap. And then the other thing is the HEG tape that I already sell that most people know about. So I will probably be doing some Skyping this afternoon. I've really enjoyed being with you today. Thank you for joining me. The next one will be this Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Thursdays we always do a giveaway, so you can win something that I've created during the live stream on Thursday evenings. I hope to see you there. And as always, I can't wait to see you guys next video. Bye-bye.